For the best medical and paramedical lectures, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay connected with us.
Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Venus Bhatia. I have done my BSc Nursing from Government Medical College and Hospital Sector 32, Chandigarh. Today our topic is hemophilia. So let's start with a brief introduction of the topic. So, hemophilia refers to a group of bleeding disorder resulting from a deficiency of a specific coagulation protein. Okay? In this, we need to identify the specific coagulation deficiency is important so that definitive treatment with the specific replacement agent can be implemented. Okay? In addition to this, aggressive replacement therapy is initiated to prevent chronic cramping, which means disable effect from the joint bleeding. Okay, now next definition. It is a group of inherited bleeding disorder in which ability of a blood to clot is impaired. Okay, so hemophilia is a X-linked recessive disorder. It is a X-linked recessive disorder. Now I would like to explain little bit regarding X-linked recessive disorder by giving examples. So suppose if the father has the disorder and mother doesn't, so all the daughters will be carrier but son wouldn't have the disease. In other case, if the mother is a carrier and father doesn't have the hemophilia, each son has a 50% chances of getting hemophilia and each daughter has a 50% chance of being a carrier. Okay, and another case, if the mother is a carrier and father has a hemophilia, the daughter will inherit the disease, but this situation is extremely rare. So the cause is genetic inheritance. Okay, hope you all understand. Next we will move to types of hemophilia. In this lecture we will discuss 4 types of hemophilia, which includes hemophilia A, which is called classic hemophilia, hemophilia B, which is also called Christmas disease, then von Willebrand's disease. Next is hemophilia C. Okay, one by one I will discuss each of them. So first start with the hemophilia A. Hemophilia A is also known as classic hemophilia and most common type of hemophilia. Okay, in this basically factor 8 is deficit, means factor 8 is absent. Now next is hemophilia B. Hemophilia B is also known as Christmas disease. In this clotting factor 9 is absent. Okay, next we have von Willebrand disease. In von Willebrand disease, it is a very important. Okay, von Willebrand disease is inherited bleeding disorder that is characterized by deficiency or a defect in a protein termed von Willebrand disease or factor. Okay, next we have hepatitis C. Hepatitis C is a rare genetic disorder, okay, which is caused by missing a defective blood clotting protein called factor 11. It is characterized by bleeding episode after dental extraction or a similar events. So the next is clinical manifestations. In clinical manifestations, first we will discuss regarding hemarthrosis. So what is hemarthrosis? Means bleeding into the joint cavity. Okay, next is easy bruising and cutaneous hematoma formation with a minor trauma. Next is bleeding from gums and prolonged bleeding following minor injury or cuts. Next is GI bleeding with a hematemesis, occult blood in the stool, gastric pain or abdominal pain. Okay, so as you see in this picture, on the left side there is a platelet deficiency which causes petechia and purpura over the skin, and on the right side you can see the coagulation problem which causes hematoma. You can see the joints are swelled due to this bleeding disorder. Okay, mainly this clotting, mainly this happen in this hematoma. And you can also see this on a x-ray, how it shows on a x-ray. Okay, next is spontaneous hematuria or epistaxis, which is nosebleed. Next is pain or paralysis due to pressure hematoma on nerves and intracranial hemorrhage. Next is investigation. Investigation is very important. So first investigation is our blood test. Okay, so blood test should be done. It helps the doctor to check for a certain disease and condition. It is also helps to check the function of an organ and show how the treatment are working. Next is clotting studies. In this we study about the different types of clotting studies. First is partial thromboplastin time. It is also called PTT. So PTT is a blood test that looks how long it takes for a blood clot. It can help to tell if you have bleed or clotting problem. Okay, if the patient is in heparin medication, you will be watched for the sign of bleeding. Okay, so the normal PTT is 25 to 35 second. It is the normal value of PTT. Next we have thrombin time. It's also called TT. Okay, so TT is a blood test which measure the time it take for a clot to form in the plasma from a blood sample in anticoagulant which had added a excess of thrombin. This test repeat with a pooled plasma from a normal patient. Different in time between the test and the normal indicates an abnormality in the conversion of fibrinogen. Next test is serum platelet level. It is a test to measure how many platelet you have in your blood. Platelet is also help the blood clot. The size is smaller than red and white cells. The platelet size is smaller than red and white blood cells. Okay, so the normal platelet count should be between 1,50,000 to 4 lakh. Okay, there is some printing mistake in the slide. Next is factor assay. Factor 8 deficiency or extrinsic protein is an inherited disorder in which a lack of plasma protein. Factor 8 leads to abnormal bleeding and it occurs when the body does not have enough factor 8. It is very important clotting protein. So amniocentesis can be done, okay, to diagnose the fetal defect in the early second trimester of the pregnancy. It is surrounded a fetus of a womb. Perform a fetal cell found in a sample can reveal the presence of how many genetic disorder in the fetus. Next is medical management. In medical management, primary treatment is replacement of missing clotting factor. Additional medications such as agent to relieve pain or corticosteroids may be prescribed depending on the source of bleeding from the disorder. Okay, so we can also give the patient to the fresh frozen plasma. Fresh frozen plasma replace all the clotting factors except platelets. For platelets, we need to give the platelets to the patient. For hemophilia A, human blood serum can be given. For hemophilia B, factor 9 concentrate can be given. Okay, for hemophilia C, fresh frozen plasma daily should be given. For von Willebrand disease, factor 8 concentrate can be given. Now aspirin is avoided in hemophilia. Okay, it is a anticoagulant, so it will lead to it will not coagulate the blood, so it will hinder the coagulation process. So aspirin should be avoided in the hemophilia case. So we will discuss now nursing care plan. So our first nursing care plan is nursing diagnosis. In ineffective body protection related to lack of clotting factor. So our goal is increasing patient's body protection. For this, first of all, we need to assess the patient's body protection by taking CBC, complete blood count, to evaluate patient's condition. Then instruct patient on bleeding precautions to promote early intervention to prevent injury. Next is assist with administration of factor, concentration, fresh frozen plasma, cryoprecipitate or blood to treat acute bleeding. If bleeding, then apply cold compresses at bleeding site to help slow bleeding. Okay, now avoid any route of injection like IM, IV, subcutaneous. All these routes should be avoided, and rectal medications also should be avoided because that can cause bleeding into the tissue. Next is care plan 2, nursing diagnosis, risk of aspiration related to uncontrolled nose bleeding. It is basically seen in the case of epistaxis. So our goal is reduce risk of aspiration, control nose bleed. Nursing interventions, assess patient nose bleeding to evaluate patient condition, apply cold compresses to reduce nose bleeding, avoid patient for exposed with a high temperature to avoid nose bleeding, avoid patient in doing major surgeries to avoid excessive bleeding, aspiration, replace clotting factor and blood products to increase patient blood clotting. Next is avoid all the anticoagulant medications such as heparin and aspirin to control excessive bleeding. Next is nursing care plan 3, nursing diagnosis, pain related bleeding into the tissue. Our goal is patient will verbalize the pain is relieved a satisfactory level. So first is what the nursing intervention, assess the patient pain by report the localization, intensity and rate the pain on the pain scale to provide caregiver with the data for treatment plan. Then administer opioid which include morphine as prescribed to control pain for a severe to moderate. Then avoid IM injection because the risk of bleeding into the muscle which can cause more pain. Then reassess the level of the pain within 1 hour after administer opioid to determine the effectiveness of treatment ordered. Okay, we should reassess the patient within 1 hour after the administration of opioid like morphine. Next is monitor sedation and respiratory status of the patient receive opioid of pain because opioid can cause depressed respiratory center of the brain. So our normal respiratory rate is 12 to 20 breaths per minute. If the respiratory rate is less than 12 breaths per minute, then we should not give patient to opioids because they depress the respiratory center. Okay, next is I will tell you regarding collaborative interventions in which include monitor for bleeding and maintain bleeding precautions. Okay, next, second point, prepare to administer factor 8 concentrates either produced through the genetic engineering or derived from pooled plasma as prescribed by the doctor. Then point third, DDAVP means 1-diamine-8-D-arginine vasopressin. It is a synthetic form of vasopressin which increases the plasma factor 8 and may be prescribed to treat mild hemophilia. This is prescribed for the treat mild hemophilia. Okay, now point 4, monitor for joint pain, immobilize the affected extremity if joint pain occur. We should immobilize the extremity if the joint pain occur. Next is point 5, assess neurological status especially in the children because children is at a risk for intracranial hemorrhage. Next is point 6, control joint bleeding by immobilize, elevation and application of ice. Apply pressure for 15 minutes for superficially bleeding. If there is a superficial bleed, then we should apply the pressure for 15 minutes to stop the bleeding. Okay, then next point is 7, monitor urine for hematuria. Then point 8, instruct the client and the parent about the sign of internal bleeding. We should teach them like what is the sign for the internal bleeding you can assess in your child. Okay, then instruct the parent is how to control the bleeding. Next, point number 10, instruct patient regarding activity for the child, emphasis to avoidance of contact sport and need to protective devices while learning to walk. It means that we should advise the parents to to give them a protective devices while they are playing or they're doing any kind of physical activity, so they should provide them a protective devices. 11, assist in developing an appropriate exercise plan. Next is instruct the child to wear protective devices such as helmets, knees and elbow pads when participating in sports such as bicycling and skating, because these are the physical activities and this could lead to joint bleed when the child fall down. Okay, this will further problem cause any serious problem. Okay, because the clotting factor is absent though the bleeding is regularly, so the bleeding will not stop. So the main important note is a child with the bleeding disorder needs to wear a Medi Alert bracelet in which the written about its medical condition. Okay, so this is about the today's lecture. So this is the end of the topic. I hope all of you enjoy and gain some kind of knowledge. If you have any doubts related to this topic, leave your question in the comment box and please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.
Do like, leave a comment, and share with your friends.